In the ancient shadow of an empire that stretched across lands and clashed with cultures, an event of profound resonance unfolds. Here, we step into a narrative woven from threads of power, betrayal, and fate surrounding the crucifixion of a figure like none other, a figure whose teachings challenged authority, and whose life would become the fulcrum of history. The scene is set in a turbulent age where political games are played with fateful consequences. At the heart of this story, individuals linked by their decisions, each bearing their own burden of choice that collectively shapes the course of history. We will journey through the lives and fates of these key figures, unraveling their motivations and the roles they played in this pivotal moment. Their stories are not merely relics of the past, but resonate with timeless lessons of morality, power, and destiny, highlighting the intricate human interplay beneath historical events. Each man's path echoes the broader cosmic struggle between justice and betrayal, offering insight into the complex legacy of this age-old saga. In the annals of history, Marcus, the Roman Prefect, stands as a pivotal figure at the heart of a dramatic moment that would echo through the ages. As the governor presiding over a province rife with tension, he possessed the authority to influence outcomes during one of the most talked about trials in history. Marcus found himself engulfed in a whirlwind of political maneuvering, social unrest, and cultural friction. His position forced him to navigate the crosscurrents of Roman law and Jewish tradition, seeking a balance that would please all yet satisfy none. The controversial decision to allow an execution that held the potential to alter religious and political landscapes was not one made lightly, though it appeared inevitable given the external pressures he faced. Known for his iconic gesture of washing his hands, Marcus attempted to absolve himself of responsibility, symbolically distancing himself from the decision's moral weight. This act, intended as a public declaration of his internal conflict and supposed neutrality, became a lasting symbol of attempting to evade culpability. Historically, his choice has been interpreted in various lights as one of political expediency, survival instinct amidst burgeoning threats, and a tragic miscalculation of future repercussions. Marcus's decision unwittingly tied his legacy to an event of monumental significance, marking him forever in the annals of moral dilemmas and historical turning points. His narrative leaves us to ponder the extent of personal accountability and the burdens of authority in the face of unyielding societal and political forces. Marcus, once a figure of considerable authority within the Roman hierarchy, saw his world unravel post-crucifixion. His decision to prioritize political expediency over moral rectitude, marked by the ceremonial washing of his hands, came to haunt him. As whispers of unrest grew, coupled with the shifting tides of power in Rome, Marcus found himself increasingly marginalized. His perceived indecisiveness and missteps alienated him from both allies and superiors. Subsequently, embattled by political adversaries who seized on his vulnerabilities, Marcus faced exile, an outcome reflecting the brutal politics of the time. Isolated and stripped of the honor he once wielded, Marcus's psyche bore the brunt of these losses. Haunted by the memory of his pivotal role, a world-altering event and the cascading consequences of his choices, Marcus succumbed to despair, choosing a tragic end. His story, shaping historical analysis, serves as a poignant reminder of how power intertwined with destiny can lead to one's downfall. Marcus's legacy is a complex tapestry woven with threads of power, conflict, and moral ambiguity. His symbolic act of washing his hands has transcended history, becoming a proverbial expression for evading responsibility. Historically, Marcus stands at a pivotal moment of stalemate between duty and conscience. Within the annals of history, some view him as a tragic figure caught in the machinations of politics, while others see him as a man who prioritized personal security over justice. His involvement in the crucifixion has sparked endless debates among scholars and theologians alike, raising questions about leadership and the burden of decision-making. As time progresses, Interpretations of Marcus's actions continue to evolve, suggesting that his story is as much about the present as it is about the past. Ultimately, his legacy serves as a reminder of the enduring struggle between morality and authority, offering a poignant reflection on the human condition. In the sprawling historical web of the Crucifixion, Tiberius stands as a pawn in a game far larger than himself. As the puppet king under the formidable Roman Empire, Tiberius found himself ensnared by the politics and demands of his superiors. His title, while grand in name, bore little true power, his actions dictated by those who prescribed dominion over him. Yet, Tiberius's role in the trial of the fateful crucifixion is marked by a cold interaction that reflects his own sense of powerlessness unmet by his political stature. During this pivotal moment, Tiberius appeared as a figure torn between his royal decorum and the external expectations set by the Roman authorities. His past decisions, often seen as controversies and questionable allegiances, carried weight that rippled across the region, affecting discourse and governance. This scene was not the culmination of his journey, but rather a significant chapter that highlighted his complex position in this turbulent era. The disappointment in what he could not change, and decisions seemingly made for him, foreshadowed rumblings of discord that would echo posthumously. As tensions simmer, the trial becomes a paradoxical testament to the constraints and sometimes illusionary nature of power, stressing the legacy Tiberius would leave behind. As the puppet king under Roman domination, Tiberius's later years were marred by a distressing and mysterious decline in health. His once imposing presence in the royal court was overshadowed by ailing health that left him physically diminished and mentally tormented. Chronic pain and debilitating conditions rendered him a shadow of his former self, often retreating from public appearances in his capital. Rumors of divine retribution spread like wildfire across the region, suggesting that his anguish was a manifestation of celestial justice for wrongdoing. Such tales added a layer of fear and mysticism to his ailments, blending political intrigue with spiritual speculation. Physicians of the time were baffled, unable to provide adequate relief or explanation, thus fueling further conjecture. The illness sapped not only his physical strength, but his political influence as well, creating vulnerabilities that would lead to the fracturing of his power base. This decline served as a poignant reminder of the vicissitudes of power and the inevitable fall that often follows hubris and moral compromise. In the wake of Tiberius's debilitating health decline, the stability of his realm was shaken to its very core. As the once formidable ruler succumbed to a myriad of incapacitating illnesses, including rumors of divine retribution, his kingdom began to fragment. Each faction vied for power, scrambling to seize control in the inevitable power vacuum left by his demise. The political landscape was irrevocably altered, as infighting amongst nobles intensified and trust eroded within the ruling class. Tiberius's reign, once perceived as enduring under Roman oversight, now serves as a haunting reminder of the precarious nature of borrowed power and blind allegiance to greater forces. His legacy is one of caution and admonition of how reliance on external might, without nurturing domestic unity, can unravel a dominion swiftly. This tale of downfall underscores the perilous journey of a ruler whose unchecked authority was met with eventual disregard, setting a precedent that resounded through the annals of history. Ephraim, occupying the prestigious role of high priest, was a pivotal figure in the religious and political framework of his time. Deeply embedded in the traditions and power structures of the temple, Ephraim's authority was unquestionable among his contemporaries. Yet, amidst this authority lay a profound responsibility to protect the sanctity of religious doctrine and guide the spiritual direction of his people. During the tumultuous events surrounding the trial of a revolutionary figure accused of blasphemy, Ephraim's influence was crucial. He played a leading role in the council's decision-making, firmly advocating for what he believed was the preservation of their sacred traditions. The figure's teachings, perceived as a radical threat to the established religious order, required decisive action in Ephraim's view. Despite the monumental weight of this choice, driven perhaps by fear of losing authority or by unwavering conviction, Ephraim endorsed the path leading to condemnation. This decision was met with mixed reactions, embedding his legacy amidst narratives of controversy and intrigue, shaping the spiritual landscape for generations to come. Ephraim's journey following the crucifixion through a tumultuous period marked by political instability and societal backlash. Once a respected figure in religious circles, his role in condemning a revolutionary figure sparked widespread criticism and distrust. As the public began to question the motives behind such a severe decision, Ephraim found himself at the center of a maelstrom of controversy. His political influence waned, and he faced mounting pressure from both his peers and the growing populace. This upheaval led to his eventual expulsion from his esteemed position of authority. While some viewed this as divine judgment, others saw it as the natural consequence of a leader out of touch with the evolving sentiments of his community. Ephraim's story became a powerful lesson on the dangers of allowing personal bias and societal pressure to dictate one's decisions. Despite his initial prominence, his legacy is marred by this pivotal involvement, a reminder of the human capacity for error, the weight of conscience, and the unpredictable currents of public opinion. In the intricate tapestry of these historical events, we meet Jonah, a figure whose name has become synonymous with betrayal. Jonah was once a trusted confidant, a person whose voice carried weight and whose presence was reassuring, a companion to the isolated and misunderstood. Yet, within him brewed a storm of discontent and doubt. It is said that Jonah's infamous act was sealed with pieces of silver, a literal price put upon trust, loyalty, and friendship. This act was not just a transaction, but a deeply symbolic moment, marking the turning point in a narrative that has spanned ages. As we delve into Jonah's role in the crucifixion, we see the broader tale of treachery unfold. His decision was not made lightly. It was a culmination of pressures, internal conflicts, and perhaps even miscalculations. The pieces of silver, once merely a physical currency, transformed into the eternal weight of his betrayal, a burden that overshadowed any fleeting gain it initially promised. Jonah's story reminds us of the tragic consequences when fidelity is traded for material gain, and how such actions reverberate through the annals of history. Jonah's betrayal, fueled by fleeting temptation, soon turns into a heavy burden of guilt and remorse that weighs down his very soul. As the silver that once glittered with promise now seems to tarnish in his hands, Jonah grapples with the monumental consequences of his actions. Haunted by the echoes of lost trust and love, his conscience becomes an inescapable prison, tormenting him with relentless visions of what could have been had he chosen a different path. Despair takes root, growing stronger each day, until Jonah sees one escape from his self-inflicted torment, a tragic end by his own hand. The depths of his sorrow transform into ominous whispers in sacred texts and symbolic narratives, painting a portrait of ultimate regret. These scriptures encapsulate a somber lesson of cost and consequence, speaking to the dangerous allure of betrayal and the insidious path it carves. Jonah's life, though marked by choice and consequence, resonates as a cautionary tale echoing through time, a narrative of redemption lost amidst shadows of regret and despair. The tale of Jonah's betrayal resonates deeply with prophetic voices from ancient texts, emphasizing the notion that even the darkest acts can fulfill preordained purposes. The narrative weaves itself seamlessly into a tapestry of warnings and promises intoned long before Jonah's birth. His treachery, driven by the lure of silver, mirrors age-old prophecies that foretell betrayal for worldly gain. This grim but symbolic act becomes a pivotal moment in the unfolding of a divine plan, underscoring that prophecy often acknowledges human imperfection. It suggests an intricate balance between foreknowledge and free will, illustrating how one's choices, even when misguided, are woven into a grander narrative perceived as divinely orchestrated. Thus, Jonah's involvement is not merely an individual tragedy, but a part of a larger prophetic narrative that intersects with themes of redemption, sacrifice, and the inexorable movement toward a destiny beyond human comprehension. As we delve into the broader implications of the tragic fates of those intertwined in the crucifixion narrative, we're brought face to face with the themes of betrayal, justice, and divine retribution. These stories are more than historical footnotes. They serve as poignant reflections on moral complexities. Each character's end, be it through political downfall, personal despair, or public scorn, highlights the inescapable consequences of their choices. Marcus's symbolic washing of his hands doesn't absolve him from history's judgment, while Jonah's haunting demise echoes the depths of remorse that can accompany betrayal. Ephraim's fall from grace mirrors the peril of coupling power with moral compromise. Tiberius's decline, rumored to be divine retribution, leaves us pondering the role of fate versus free will. Collectively, these narratives invite us to contemplate how ancient decisions resonate with today's moral dilemmas. By examining their consequences, we glean wisdom on the interplay between divine justice and human frailty, shaping a narrative that transcends time and invites introspection on our own ethical standings. As we delve into the broader implications of these tragic narratives, we're prompted to reflect on the nature of consequences and the enduring moral questions they pose. The tales of Marcus, Tiberius, Ephraim, and Jonah, each marked by personal and political turmoil, remind us that the ripples of our actions extend far beyond their immediate impact. The crucifixion narrative becomes a lens through which we examine our own choices, highlighting how the seeds of betrayal and the thirst for power often lead to unforeseen ruin. In historical context, these figures serve as stark reminders of the fragility of human dignity when confronted with the allure of authority or the fear of judgment. Within a spiritual framework, these stories awaken us to the essence of accountability and the weight of decisions, encouraging reflection on the pursuit of justice and the pathways to redemption that must transcend mere human retribution. Let these narratives inspire contemplation on how we navigate ethical dilemmas, urging us to adopt empathy, integrity, and a sincere commitment to the greater good. Ultimately, they challenge us to consider the lasting legacy of our actions and the moral compass that guides them, fostering a deeper understanding of consequence in the tapestry of human history. In the grand tapestry of religious texts, the crucifixion stands as a pivotal moment that resonates deeply within Christian theology. For many believers, it marks the fulfillment of ancient prophecies, illuminating the path to redemption through a profound sacrifice. The narrative underscores the belief that this event did not occur in isolation. Rather, it was preordained, woven into the divine plan foreseen by prophets. Foretold were the sufferings and eventual triumph, with words etched into sacred scrolls that hinted at salvation through the selfless act of one individual. The crucifixion is, therefore, seen not merely as an act of execution, but as a gateway to rebirth, illustrating the delicate interplay of faith, sacrifice, and divine intention. It prompts reflection on the nature of prophecy and the profound messages those predictions carry, resonating across millennia to touch hearts and minds with its themes of hope and renewal. Inviting believers to see beyond the temporal suffering, it beckons them to embrace the spiritual awakening that follows, becoming a cornerstone in the narrative of divine grace. In examining the crucifixion narrative, balancing the theological with the historical analysis provides a deeper understanding of its transcendent messages. Historically, the crucifixion of this pivotal figure marks a significant event in the timeline of spiritual awakening and religious evolution. Many scholars and theologians argue that these events were meticulously prophesied, shining light on the dramatic interplay between human actions and divine orchestration. This narrative, steeped in rich cultural and religious symbolism, prompts reflections on suffering, atonement, and ultimate redemption from a theological viewpoint. It is seen as a fulfillment of long-standing prophecies, a divine act that provides salvation and hope for believers. Historically, it echoes themes of sacrifice and rebirth, not just spiritually, but also in societal transformation. These interpretations challenge us to see beyond the immediate story, inviting broader contemplation of morality, legacy, and humanity's pursuit of meaning. Ultimately, this scene provides an invitation to view the narrative as more than historical. It's a lens through which we examine human nature, divine purpose, and the continuous quest for redemption. As we reach the culmination of our exploration, one cannot help but marvel at the intertwined destinies and profound fates of those swept into the tides of history with the Crucifixion event. In this narrative, we see the flawed nature of humanity on full display, an intricate tapestry woven from the threads of power, ambition, betrayal, and tactical decisions. Each character, from powerful rulers to those cast in shadows of guilt, forms a crucial part of this historical drama. Where Marcus once stood in a realm of choice, Tiberius and Ephraim navigated the corridors of power, each making decisions that reflected deeper moral and ethical struggles. Jonah, who stands as both betrayer and cautionary figure, fulfills his tragic narrative, leaving an indelible mark on history. Through these stories, we confront not merely the darker shades of human nature, but also the enduring messages of love, redemption, and forgiveness that emerge stronger than vengeance or guilt. By understanding their stories, we invite ourselves to reflect on our paths, to choose compassion and understanding over retribution, and to let history's echoes resonate with the hope of healing and reconciliation. As we conclude this exploration of intertwined destinies, we invite you, the viewer, to reflect on the enduring messages of the narrative. Faith, despite its many challenges, is a path of redemption and spiritual renewal. The stories we have unfolded teach us that even in the shadows of betrayal and turmoil, there is a guiding light of forgiveness and love. These themes resonate not just in religious contexts, but in our everyday lives, where we continually strive to choose understanding over resentment. Let us consider how these historical narratives can inspire us to seek peace within ourselves and with others. Embrace the call to explore further, whether through sacred texts or personal reflection, as we seek to understand the depth of human experiences within the divine tapestry of history. May this journey inspire a deeper compassion and a belief in the transformative power of grace, encouraging a life of forgiveness and faith.